Making a Change Group's Community Report every Thursday at 10 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and CMPRadio.net's platform. Making a Change Group is dedicated to empowering youth, strengthening families, and serving as a community connector for the city of Chester and Delaware County. Thank you for tuning in.
Good morning, Chester. Good morning, Making a Change Group family. I'm Michelle Jackson, Program Director here at Making a Change Group, and me and the team are ready to rock and roll today. We have an amazing guest speaker that's going to share some information about how Chester Upland School District is working diligently to help our kids stay in school. So Tammy Yarbray is on right after we do some opening remarks. We're going to talk about some events that are coming up, do a quick review with the guys of some events that happened last weekend, and then we'll have Tammy come on towards the end. So let's get right into it with our events. We know that the Daddy and Me dance is coming up with Chester City Hall in the community room. So calling all fathers, join the team with making this weekend very special for you and your little ones, your sons and your daughters, nieces, nephews, anyone who you call can call you dad or see you as a father figure. Please have you guys come out. It's sponsored by Councilman William Morgan. There's going to be food, magic, games, music. It's sponsored by the City of Chester and Amachi Chester. That is this weekend. So make sure you come out to see that. It's going to be on Friday, June the 17th at 6:00. So make sure you get additional information at Amachi's website and the City of Chester's website so you can get registered, come out and hang out with all your little ones. The gun buyback is still in full force. We have had tons of response for this. The community is anxiously awaiting this event, or excitedly awaiting this event. So it's going to help to reduce gun violence in Chester. Individuals who are surrendering weapons and or ammunition will be offered compensation for turning in those items. And these items are being turned in and surrendered with no questions asked. So community, let's get together and create a safer community, a healthier environment for ourselves and our young people. We've seen, just tons of gun violent events over the last weekend. So just make sure that we do our part to keep our community safe. So that's going to be June 10th, which is on Friday from 2 to 6 p.m. and June 11th, which is on Saturday from 12 to 4 p.m. Again, surrender with no questions asked. Compensation will be given. The West Side location is Bethany Baptist Church, and that's at 1121 Tillman Street, Chester, PA. The East Side location is the East Side Recreation Center, which is 1102 Upland Street in Chester, PA. Free gun locks will be available at both. If you need to get a gun lock, definitely stop in and get that. You can contact Amanda Johnson. She's at 610-447-7718 with any additional questions. The Community Shred event. This is an opportunity to clean up all of those papers, all of the mail, any confidential information that you just don't want to throw out, even if it's huge bags of it. Bring it out to the city for a free Community Shred event. This is for city residents and business owners. So get your spaces cleaned up, clean out those offices, clean out those drawers, get everything cleaned out for spring. The benefit, this is a free event, and you can bring as much paper that you need to shred as you desire. It's June 10th and 11th. That's this Friday and Saturday. We're going to be at Chester City Hall parking lot, and that is the parking lot that's on 1 East 4th Street, right on the corner. The number, if you have any question, is 610-447-7700. This is hosted by Councilwoman Portia West and the Department of Streets and Public Improvement. So make sure you take advantage of it. We are promoting Safe Summer, right? So Chester Chaplains and the Corps present Chester Safe Summers. If you want information, please reach out to the Chester Chaplain Corps. This event is going to be hosted on Tuesday, June 14th at 6 p.m. And it is to launch Chester Safe Summer 2022. There'll be water, food, games, masks, and tissues and hand sanitizer will be given out. Our location, hold on, I need my glasses. This location is at the Salvation Army, and there will be a blood drive and a hoop contest, a toss contest, and a poetry contest. So all of our poets, please come out so we can put you on stage and get you out there. So yeah, definitely make sure everyone is able to take part of that on June 14th. The Summer Bridge Program 2022. This is a free 2-week program, and we talked about this a little bit earlier in the season, from June 27th to August 11th. This is an in-person sessions that are going to be held at the Marple campus for Delaware County Community College, and this program will give students an opportunity to bridge their summer into college and get credit, free paid credits for some of their basic entry-level courses for their first year of college. So definitely make sure that you get as much information. We're going to have this information on our website, as well as Delaware County Community College has it on their website as well. Please, students, anyone interested in getting back into college, any students that are interested in going for their first year this year, this coming fall, make sure that you take advantage of this free bridge program that is totally paid for. It is in person from June 27th to August 11th. Those 2 weeks, you'll be able to complete some introductory credits that'll go towards your next school year. Juneteenth Festival, featuring the Force MDs. That is going to be on Saturday, the 18th, 2022, from 12 to 6 p.m. And that is going to be at Memorial Park. This is the 11th annual Juneteenth Festival. It's hosted by Anthony Moore. There's going to be multiple performances throughout the day into the evening. Special guests are the Force MDs. Make sure you come out. There will be tons of vendors. There'll be community or city business owners that are going to be having their wares and their products out and available for you to peruse and support. Definitely come out. And again, this is all part of our Peaceful Summer campaign. So come out and let's get things started to celebrate a very significant cultural event for our community. Following up our Juneteenth service on Saturday will be the Juneteenth worship service, and that's going to be hosted at St. Daniel's UME Church, and that is going to be on Sunday, June 18th at 10:30 a.m. It's also going to be hosted at Hope Point Ministries at 9th and Curlin Street, and St. Daniel's Ray of Hope at 4th and Edward Street. So a community-wide worship service to celebrate Juneteenth. Everyone, please take a minute to take a look at the Chester Community Activity Calendar. This calendar is a culmination of events that are hosted by not just Making a Change Group, but other community organizations, other programs in the city. There, June 11th is going to be Chester Upland Youth Soccer. And then June 17th, the Daddy Me Dance that we talked about a little bit earlier. June 18th is a Juneteenth celebration at Memorial Park. June 18th is also the Union versus FC Cincinnati. That game is hosted at 7:30 p.m. So you can go right from the Juneteenth celebration at Memorial Park down to the Union to have tons of fun at that game at Subaru Park. The Father's Day Parade is going to be starting at 12 p.m. on June 18th on 7th and Penn Street, and that's going to go from there to Memorial Park, where we'll jump right into the Juneteenth celebration. On June 22nd, Making a Change Group is going to be hosting a trip for all of our GVINE participants to the National Museum of African American History and Culture in Washington, D.C. And on June 26th, Union versus NYCFC at 6 p.m. at Subaru Park. Definitely take a look and get more information about these events at CUYS's website, Chester City's website, Making a Change Group, makingachangegroup.org, and Philadelphia Union Subaru Park, philadelphiaunion.com. Another huge program that is going to be able to benefit all of our youth this summer. You want to join Chester Education Foundation Summer STEP program, and that program stands for Success, Training, and Employment. You want to sign up to learn valuable job skills while working in paid internships. This is an in-person program, and it runs from July 6th to August 11th. It is for all of our young people between 16 and 18 years old. They have to be enrolled in high school, not yet graduated. For more information, you can scan the QR code that's shown on the screen, or you can reach Miss Elaine Green Upton at egreen@chestereducation.org. Her phone number is 610-364-1212. You can also reach her through Chester Education Foundation's Facebook page. This program is amazing. It is paid internship. So your young people between 16 and 18 who have not yet graduated high school will be able to have employment and learn at the same time throughout the summer. Let's make sure we don't miss it. So thank you, everyone. All of the flyers that we talked about this morning will be posted on our makingachangegroup.org website. You can check those things out there and get more information. But let's just jump right into it. I'd like to have Miss Tammy Yarbray jump on. Hi, Miss Tammy. How are you?
Hi, how are you?
Good. We definitely want to take a few minutes. We know you're super busy working with the young people at Chester Upland School District, but we want to learn more about what the truancy department does at Chester Upland and what your role is and how you are working diligently to help our young people stay in school.
Oh, yeah. Well, I will say this much. I do give kudos to the parents because we need the parent support most of all in getting the students here and getting them here on time. The parent component is very, very important. But in addition to that, what we do find is that there's multiple barriers, of course, once we start working with the students. And so I will actually say that Making a Change has also reached out to me recently, and we are working with them to partner with some middle school students as well to have some mentorship with some students that have some truancy issues in our district. And so we work with multiple partners, but right now we actually are working with, which we've been working with for years and years, Child Guidance Resource Center, which they have like a actual truancy delinquency partnership program that kind of works with truancy prevention. But as you know, there's a lot of students who are having multiple issues. So a lot of these programs have waiting lists. Okay. And so the concern is that they're not able to service as many students. So we have partnered with Justice Works now as well.
So tell me, when we think about truancy, a lot of times we may think in our community that truancy is just kids that just don't want to go to school. They just want to hang out. They want to skip. Tell me, so the community members can know, what is truancy and what are the multiple facets of it? Because I know working with young people that truancy can mean more than just a child not going to school willingly.
So if you want to look at the law in the state of Pennsylvania, truancy is considered 3 unlawful absences. So any student in the state of Pennsylvania that has 3 unlawful absences and they're not excused. And unlawful means they're not compulsory school age. So in the state of Pennsylvania, compulsory school age is now between the ages of 6 and 17. So any student that falls in that range is actually considered truant by law. In Chester Upland School District, we don't send parents to court after 3 days. What we do is we have a process, and what the law states is that we're trying to put interventions in place, and we try to work with the students. So what we do is we have a student attendance improvement plan and a conference to kind of engage the parents and members of the school. But at times we're not able to always engage the parent, or because of their work schedule, because what's going on. So we offer different entities. Of course, we'll do Zoom, we'll do a conference call, but we still have the meeting whether the parent is available or not. But we do try to reach out and have them involved because, again, like I say, they're essential.
Right.
But in most cases, when people think of truant students, sometimes it is someone just not coming to school. But a lot of cases is that students have barriers to coming to school. They have concerns about coming to school. It could be multiple things going on in the household. And what we usually try to do is we try to figure out what the situation may be. Mm-hmm. And like we've had situations in the past where we may have had an older sibling caring for younger siblings. They're coming to school late every day because they're trying to drop them off at school and making sure that they're there safely. We've had students that are parents that had concerns as well. So we definitely try to navigate through that. But it's usually not just the child not coming to school. Usually it's an issue involved. Yeah.
Right. There might, I know we've seen within our organization issues of homelessness. There might be illness in the family. We've had young people who were ill and the school wasn't notified properly. So there's definitely more than just one issue that stops young people from being able to go to school. When we talk, I know that I'm going to ask the guys to jump on. We've had instances or incidents recently where we have been able to get some support from your office with young people that we work with that weren't able to come to school, and that's been really helpful. So, of course, without giving away any confidences, can you just share with our community just how that process looked and how we were able to support?
Are you asking? I'm sorry, I had to mute on. So,
I was asking you, Tammy.
Yeah. So, we at times what occurs, like you said, sometimes that parent may reach out. And I mean, of course, like say if it's a situation where it's trauma. Mm-hmm. So when it's a trauma situation, the parent, their major concern is making sure that their child is okay.
Yeah.
And maybe, of course, there might be medical care involved. There might be police involvement. There might be safety issues. And sometimes the school may be the last person that's informed.
Right.
So at different points in our work, we definitely rely on community partners. Someone might be working with that student and they might get the information first. Mm-hmm. And then it might get to me that way because someone from making a change might say, I'm working with this student and this is what happened. And I was at the home and this is what I found out. Or Justice Works might say that, or Child Guidance might say that. And then at that point, that's when our department would get involved and say, hey, I'm not sure if you know, but we let the academic team know. We let the nurse know, if it's something with a medical issue. And then we start making communication with the parent. And sometimes it's just actually sending an email to everyone the parent might need to get in contact with and copying them on that email. And then that way now they have a communication tool to ask questions to and someone that they can communicate with or scan a note or scan a letter and get back to them regarding that.
Yeah. And then that creates that communication pipeline. And then the child isn't penalized, families aren't penalized. Or don't feel like they need to be penalized, because a lot of I think, and guys, you guys jump in and let me know what your thoughts are. I feel like, especially in issues with trauma or emergencies, our parents can have so many other distracting thoughts that while school is important, it can be the last person or the last entity or the last organization that finds out what's going on. And then a lot of times that communication that comes from the school can seem punitive, like a discipline for the parents, and parents are already at their limit. How can we, you guys chime in if you feel like that's accurate? Because I know that when things are in crisis in my household, if whoever I forget last, I'm already at my limit to be able to say, oh, in a calm way, oh, let me handle that, or I wasn't able to handle that, or whatever. And then that becomes a barrier, because now parents can feel attacked, and that's not the intention. So how, guys, chime in on that, and then let's talk about some ways we can help parents and be more supportive.
Michelle, I like to piggyback off that. I think when parents hear truancy, they think punitive. And I was able to visit some truancy cases with Supervisor Brittany. And, when I got in there, I'm not going to lie, I came in there with that kind of stigma, like, wow, this is going to be pretty hard on the parents. But when I watched some of the representatives who, the person who was representing the truancy, they were really trying to work with the parents. And I was blown away. I was like, wow, how little did I know? So I think, Ms. Tammy, my question to you as a parent would be, how can truancy be used as a resource for parents who might be scared, who have that stigma? If we can just broaden a little bit more, like if I wanted to come to you and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on, how can we as a parent use truancy kind of like as a resource to resolve some of those issues or get information?
Yeah.
So parents do that, and they're proactive. I have parents who call me and say, look, is my child in class? Are they in school? And then we're looking at that. And then they'll say, let's meet. So what I do say is that during report card conferences is a great time to come in. When you come in, not just to get the grades, we're here during report card conferences to sit down and say, let me review my child's absences, their cuts in school, to kind of discuss this. You can do it day one if you want to come in. You can make that relationship with us, and you can send us an email. We'll send it to the parents. We'll email them anything they want. But in addition to that, we have the Home Access Center. And I tell parents, if you want like on-time information, day by day, you want to go in and see what's going on, get signed up for our Home Access, because you're always able to access grades, absences, discipline, the Google Classroom, whatever is going on with the students, you're able to see all that in real time. But sometimes with parents, they're busy and they may not understand the process. So it's good for them to come in and do a check-in. Some parents, they meet with us. We have a meeting, we go over a plan. And like, especially now at the end of the school year, we have some students that were really struggling. So our goal is to say to the parent, let's come up with a plan. Let's meet over the summer. And the good part about it is Justice Works still works over the summer. So we'll meet with those students and we'll say, this is what the plan is moving for the next school year. And then they'll have goals to address. And a lot of the goals that they'll do over the summer are aligned with being somewhere on time, being organized. Where's your uniform? Where's your clothes at? Where's your book bag? Like just things that get them out of the door. Sleep patterns. We know teenagers do not go to sleep. And that's one of the major reasons that they come to school late. They're tired. They're tired. And, and sometimes you can't get around that. Parents say, I don't know what to do, but we try to encourage them to try to get some sleep, because you got to be able to get up in the morning. So little things like that. And then also parents having supports of those organizations. You don't have to get the court to have Justice Works involved, to have child guidance involved. In fact, when we come to school in September, there won't be a waiting list. So I'll tell parents and I'll encourage them, hey, this program is going to help your child from what we saw last school year. And moving forward this school year, this is going to get us on the right track. So those are some things we can do. And I know, Richard, you probably don't, Mr. Benner, you don't recognize me. I told Michelle, because my twisties are in my hair, you were in court with me that day when we were so it was a good experience for you guys to see. And I thought that the reason why it was really good, I let them come in and do observations, and they were able to listen to the cases. And then also at the end, I was able to say to them, what cases do you think you could help? And we were on track. We were in sync, because what I was thinking and what they were thinking was right on time. And they were able to hear the barriers, and it was multifaceted. We had kids that had, witnessed some violence of a peer. We had people that were homeless. We had like all different spectrums of concerns, and we were able to navigate through it. And I will tell you this much, I can't say 100% of the time, but 99% of the time, parents that come to court, they don't get a fine. they get supports.
And that's important to know. That is so important for everyone in the community to understand that truancy does not have to be punitive, meaning there doesn't have to be a fine. You don't have to get turned into parole. Like none of that has to happen. If we can be proactive and just share what the resources are available. Some students have to go to school from home. They have to work remotely because of family instances. Like you said, there's trauma. There could be health related concerns where children, may not be able to go to school. There might be some learning supports that we need to put in place to help. It could be something as simple as going to bed at a certain time and, maybe an alarm clock or, an alarm to get young people up at a certain time. 7:30 could be a stretch for some people, especially if you have to be up, ready to go by that time. So definitely want to make sure that we share out in this broadcast that, there are ways to not, to be able to solve instances right away, at least put plans in place.
One of the things I really appreciate now that you said, I feel so embarrassed. But one of the things I really was blown away by that, because I've seen how you work with the parent. You ask really good questions, and you were able to inform parents. This is what you can do when this happens. This is law. You were really informative. You were giving them, this is what the laws, explaining the laws, explaining ways you can do this and that. And I was really educated in that experience. And I think that's what I want to really impart on anybody who's watching as a parent. Ms. Tammy and even the judge were really good at listening and coming up with a game plan. And I think that's so important that it does take a group to kind of like lead a youth and a young one. And especially like when it's school and law and this and that, the court can be so serious.
It can be very intimidating.
Yes. But to see that Ms. Tammy was there and was asking some strong questions and making sure that the parents understand, because you can see the concern. She really wants the youth to get their education. I thought that was amazing, that balance that was presented. So I definitely want to applaud you, Ms. Tammy, for your hard work. You definitely are a veteran in this. Especially when we had that conversation. And I thought that was another thing. When we had that conversation, I said, wow, she's really in tune with, what's going on in the kids' lives and the parents. She understands. And that's really, really important that we have people like Ms. Tammy in these positions where they can understand, and they can come up with a good game plan. And they definitely work in the gray, right? Because there's still laws. There's still laws that we have to abide by.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But just making it less intimidating is key.
Good morning, Sister Tammy. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. I wanted to ask. I wanted to go back when you said that 3 days is considered truant, and is that for the year or is that for like a marking quarter? Like
that's a good question. That is for the year. In the state of Pennsylvania, it says 3 days. It actually says that, that 3 days completely, not consecutive throughout the year. And so that's how concerned they are. In the state of Pennsylvania, also, if you look at standards, the goals would be that you would have 90% or above attendance, 95% or above attendance. So if you have a school year of 180 days, 95% of that, 10% of that school year is 18 days. 18 days total. That's 10% of the school year. 9 days is 95% of the school year. So that's what we're looking at as a goal. And what parents and students don't understand, they might look at it like, I'm there most of the time. But you could easily accumulate 18 days in a school year if you just miss 1 day a week. You could be halfway through the school year and already have 18 days. So it's very, very serious that you look at that. And then we also look at the fact that with COVID and the students not being in the school buildings and not being able to get in-person instruction, some students thrive from online instruction and other students don't. So we're playing catch up because some students really suffered those years. And if you're not in the building, you can't get the instruction. You know, our goal is to get the instruction and put incentives in place and programs in place to address learning loss. And most of those programs are in the school setting. So, you know, I always say increased achievement is aligned with increased attendance, because you have to be there, you know, to get the work, you know.
Yeah. You mentioned, I'm sorry, go ahead, Gio.
One last thing. How many days, like, okay, since it's saying it's 3 and that's for the whole year, how many days would a student have to miss before their mom or whatever have to take them to court? Because now they got to go to court behind it. How many days would have to accumulate before something like that happens?
We would send a referral to court after 10 days, and I stress after 10 days, because during that process you would have a 3-day letter to go to a parent, a 6-day, a 10-day. Then we would start engaging the process for a student attendance improvement plan. In many cases, it would not be on the 10th day, because our goal is to engage and make a referral. We would attempt to make a referral before the child goes to court. And the reason why we make so many referrals in court is because what we find is that we make the referrals and then it's easy to kind of blow it off. But when we get to court, if it's mandated by the judge, then most parents are able to work with the process. So I would say on the average, like after about 15 days, and you have to think about it's being sent over, being scheduled. So I would say probably after 15 absences when we probably would get a case in court. But ideally, it wouldn't even be that soon, because it could be excused. With COVID, we had to check and see what if the child's is sick, you know, and the child actually had COVID or was sick and it was communicated. So we have to go back and see if this child's okay. So we do a lot of knocking on doors and going to homes, because sometimes our telephone numbers are not working correctly. So we're trying to reach out, we're trying to call, we're trying to send a letter. I have a pile on my desk of about 40 letters that were returned. So we're going through those to see if it says vacant, if it says wrong address, if it says moved, and then we're going back out and we're going to call and say, all right, your mail came back. You know, do you still live in the city of Chester? Did you move out? What's going on? And then the parents will say, oh yeah, I changed my address. And then we say, can you come in, bring verification? So it's like cyclical. We're always looking to figure it out. And like you say, if you become homeless, you're not worried about anything but getting shelter for your children.
Yes, absolutely.
And then you might think about 3 or 4 days on the line, you know what, I got to call the phone, you know. And then there are supports in place as well. I know you met with one of my colleagues last week, you know, and there's supports in place for the homeless students as well. So we're always trying to reach out to support the students once we know what's going on. So I think the major concern is to determine what's going on.
Yeah. And then can we just explain what that court process looks like? Because some people in our community might think that court is taking, you know, cops and parole officers and traveling outside of the city. Can we talk about and just explain what that court process looks like for truancy specifically? Okay,
so I'll use Chester High School for example. So in Chester High School, what would happen is there should be, like I say, the 3-day, the 6-day, and the 10-day letter should go out to the parent. These letters are generated weekly. So unfortunately, what might occur is if your child misses, say your child has already missed 2 days and they miss 4 days in 1 week, their 3-day and 6-day letter may be generated in the same week, possibly, if the 3rd day and the 6th day actually happens in that week. So sometimes it might be multiple letters coming out during the same week. But the goal would be is that the letters go in and then we would send them out to the parent. The parent has on the bottom of the letter, it states that, you know, your child has missed X amount of days. Please contact the school to schedule a student attendance and conference. And at that point, the parent would contact us and say, you know, well, my child was sick, you know, and then we say, okay, well, then send a note in, get a doctor's note, what's going on. My child has COVID. You know, you have to go through the nurse to have that approved, you know, because the nurse actually does those quarantines and what the time frame would be for them to return to make it safe for everyone. We don't make those determinations on our own. And then the child's days might all be excused. Mm-hmm. Then the process might start all over again, you know, because those days are excused. So we won't send a parent to court if those days are excused, only if they're not excused. Then after we go through that process, mm-hmm. then you try to engage the parent in a meeting. Usually the school processes. We have social workers that try to do the student attendance improvement plans, guidance counselors, and then also the truancy staff as well. We'll engage the parent in a meeting. we'll come up with an intervention. We'll say, all right, we're going to put the child on a daily monitor sheet. So today you're going to be told your teachers, go to your classrooms, get signatures. We're going to show that you're in class and you're making an effort to get to class. And we're going to monitor that at the end of the week. And we're going to put you on that. We might go back at the end of the week. You might not turn it in. Might not be able to locate you. We might contact the parent again. We might say we want to reconvene. So the process could go on. That's why I was saying it's not always at 10 days. Then finally, we might say, we're not able to make any, improvement with this student. Teachers are saying that the student is not coming to class. We might have one teacher that says they're coming to my class. Okay, now we need to sit down and talk to this teacher. What's going on in this classroom? Why is this child coming there? It might be a conflict with a teacher. So it might not be a whole day they're missing. It might be just certain classes. So you'll look at that as well. And then you actually do that process. And then finally, after revising the student attendance improvement plan, meeting with the teachers, engaging the guidance counselors, engaging the parent, then we don't see any type of recourse, then we would do a citation. It would send it to court. The court actually scheduled a court date. They would schedule it to the parent. We would appear in court. And then we appear in court, like Richard saw, we come to court and we'll just say, these are the days that we're absent. This is what we had in the plan. In the plan, this is what we agreed to. Or we would even say, we tried to contact the parent to have a meeting, weren't able to, the school had a meeting in the parent's absence. Or we would say, the parent was involved, the parent has been on course with us the whole time, we're trying to engage this student. And then we'll address the issues at court and we'll try to figure out what the best intervention would be. And then even with that, when Mr. Bender was in, he'll tell you, you continue the cases sometimes. All the cases that he saw were previously scheduled, we continue them to see if we can at least get additional improvement. And there were some students who made improvement.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Some didn't, but you keep trying.
Miss Tammy, if you could share, a success story of a parent and a student who's followed these steps and these provisions, just to show, explain, what these provisions are set here to make you successful. Is there a story that you could share with us regarding a student and a parent who came and took these steps and were able to get back on track?
Trying to think. Okay. We had a parent, a student this year, and a parent. The student had a lot of days during COVID, the previous school year. And her case was scheduled for probably September, because we actually had sent it to court the end of the school year. So sometimes when we court citations go over this month, they may be scheduled in September. We came in September, and she did have a lot of problems with COVID. There was some homelessness. There were some things going on, but she was able to she was in Camelot program, and she was doing some credit recovery. So we enrolled her in the Justice Works program. She had a mentor, and the mentor was working with her. She was able to get back on track, and she graduated in December from Camelot. And this was a pure example of a student that COVID and the shutdown and all the things that happened in the world, this student just was having trouble functioning. She was, it was just so much, it was too much going on. It was, she had Wi-Fi issues, and then her mom was afraid to come up to the school because of COVID, fears and things that were going on. It was so many different things going on, but she was back on track. She completed the two classes that she ended up failing as a result of her attendance, and she ended up graduating.
Wow. And I think it's important for people to understand too, when we talk about COVID literally robbed 2 years of student in-class participation, still pretty much 2 years of being a student's life, a life of a student. So it's important to understand this story. This young one who they were stole 2 years of their life in school, went through all, and that's just the school stuff. That's not to mention their personal life. Mm-hmm. I applaud the channels you guys took to get this young one and get her GED. Get her high school diploma. And if she's listening, amazing job, because that is tough. We've seen many youth come in, and the COVID really has done something from social anxiety. One of those is social anxiety. It produced a lot of social anxiety in the youth. They're scared to go out or this and that. Some have been away from so long, interacting sometimes. They're oversensitized. It's too much for them. Things like homelessness is really prevalent out there. And who wants to come into school and say, hey, I'm homeless? No one wants to have that discussion. It's scary, but we have wonderful people in the schools, mentors and mentorships and programs out there where young people can talk. These are really important conversations so that we can create a roadmap for the youth and put them back on track. And Ms. Tammy, I just wanted to also commend you. I know we talked about how much paperwork goes in documentation and tracking a young one. And wow, outstanding, because I know one student alone, their file can be like this big probably. And that's just one student. And to hear that you're going out, this is one thing I took away from your story that I thought was so relevant, is that we got so caught on convenience as far as internet service and sending out text messages and this and that to go out and knock on someone's door now, that's a whole other level. That's amazing that we're checking to make sure the youth are okay, that we're getting the proper information, that you guys are out there in the streets is amazing. And a lot of people don't want to do that work. They're scared to knock on the door, but you guys are out there. So that goes to show like you're really trying to get the youth right on track, involve the parents, and just I want to commend your work in the course. That was awesome. What I seen was amazing.
That's awesome.
Well, I can't say enough about my staff. I have wonderful staff, and they're out there. We never when COVID hit, of course, everyone went home on March 13th. But my staff were back in when the students and the teachers were not here, and some teachers were saying students weren't on their Zoom room. My staff were in every day. We came back. We were essential employees that had to go out, because if you can't reach the student, sometimes you have to knock on the door. And I will tell you, it was scary, and I was cracking up because I might have been over prepared. I had mask and I had the shield, and my shield was fogging up, and I had gloves on. I was like, I don't know what I was doing. All I knew is I couldn't wait to get back to my car because I was on fire because I was so hot. But my staff they're wonderful. They're wonderful. They're wonderful, and I can't commend them enough. I really can't.
Mm-hmm. And are we when the kids are brought into court, is it at their home school, or where is court actually located for truancy for the district?
That's a good question. Judge Van's court has Chester High School in Coosa Elementary. Judge Georgia Stone in Brookhaven has Toby Farms in Main Street. Judge Davis has Stetzer.
And are they at their home school, or do they actually go to offices somewhere?
So they'll actually go to the actual court. So they would go to Brookhaven Court for Main Street and Toby, and that's where Richard came. He came to Brookhaven Court with me. And then Chester Court would be the other schools. And then for STEM, the judge that's actually in place for Seton, because Seton actually retired, the judge that's on the bench now is taking his Gallagher right now, but sometimes they have other fill-ins. He would do STEM.
Okay. And the locations for each court, as if that becomes necessary, will be on that letter.
Correct. So the only locations that will be different is Main Street and Toby Farms. The rest of the students will go to Chester Court, which is on Penn Street.
Okay.
And then it would be on the court notice, correct?
Okay. All right, great. Well, I know that Tammy has some other pressing issues. Does either anybody have any other questions? Anything we missed that we think that our community might need to know from Ms. Strand-Yarbray before she leaves out?
I just wanted to say that we look at school as a job. We tell the students, especially in the high school, we're meeting with those students, that this is your job. And we tell them to treat it as such. Like, you need to be on time for your job. You need to do the required work. And you need to communicate if something's wrong. So if you're not getting along with your supervisor or something's not working out, you need to make communication, and you need to communicate in a proper way and do the proper channels. So we also understand that, students might not look at it this way, but we're trying to teach them that this is their job and this is something that they need to take seriously. And so sometimes when you look at it that way and you treat them in a mature fashion and say, well, that teacher could be a supervisor that you're not getting along with, and try to look at it that way, it's a way for them to see how they can go through the channels. And we've had students that communicate very well for themselves. And when there's a problem or concern, they're able to communicate and they see what the proper channels will do. So if there's an issue or concern and they bring it to us, we will send an email. We will follow up on it. We don't make the determination, but whatever a parent tells us, whatever they have a concern, we will send an email out. And I like to email everybody that's involved. And then that way the parent can have, a proper channel. But they're always welcome to call, communicate with us. And we do service the whole entire district. So it's not like we just service Chester High School, even though we're housed in this building, but we do value the parents, value the students in this community, and we'll do anything to support them. And the judges are on board with that as well.
Awesome. Gio, you were going to say something?
Oh, no. I was just saying, thank you for the information. I mean, I appreciate you coming on and sharing this with us. I never knew that it was only 3 days.
Yeah, well, it's I think it's super helpful for us to know what other resources are out there for our young people, and that if there is a reason why. Oh, I do have one last question. What are instances of where absences can be excused? Is it just illness? Is there a standard, or how can it be determined if absences are actually valid and then can be taken off their record?
That's a good question. We do have a list of excused absences, and of course, that would be, if a child was absent, if your child was just sick and they weren't feeling well, you could write a note in as a parent. You could write a note in up to 2 days. If the child was ill over 3 days, 3 or more days, you would need a doctor's note stating that child was absent. If it was something like COVID related, you would go to the nurse. The nurse would say that the child contracted it on this day, was tested positive this day, this is when they come back, and they would get a medical excuse. If something happened, the child had something serious happen, like they had to be hospitalized or something like that, then of course they can give documentation. If the child had a dental appointment, they needed to leave early, you could use that. We always try to encourage parents to try to do appointments on off days because it gets to be too confusing, but sometimes they can't, because everybody wants to have an appointment on President's Day, of course, because they know the students are off from school and the doctor's offices are filled up. Mm-hmm. So we do that. Also, if there's a holiday, if you have a religious concern, we ask that you just submit that information ahead of time if you can, and have it approved. We also have approved for if there's of course, the students are on a field trip. There's a field trip code, so that should go in. That would be actual excused absence. Believe it or not, a suspension is even an excused absence. So children are not penalized if they're suspended from school. That's an excused absence. So there are valid absences and there are invalid absences. You can't just say, well, I'm getting my hair braided, and then you can't say, I would say you can't just say it's a case-by-case situation at some times, because say if the parent is transporting the child to school and then they call and they say, my card is broke down, they may get excused that day, but you can't say every day for 2 weeks, I'm not bringing them because my car broke down, because if they don't have a bus, then, it's considered that they would walk. But we do know that there are concerns in the community, so the school will work with you. But you can't just say it after 2 weeks, you need to communicate with someone, and then the school will make it.
Okay. Well, great. Well, thank you so much for sharing your time and your knowledge so that we can inform our community. Our parents are amazing. And a lot of times just knowing what steps to take can just be the bridge that we need. And we really hope that we were able to shed some light and shed some information to erase barriers, with this conversation. So thank you so much for your time, Ms. Tammy Strand-Yarbray from the Truancy Department. And we hope to continue being able to work with you even more to support our young people and their families.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Yep. Have a great day. Guys, we have a couple more minutes. I wanted to get you guys' feedback on the Peace Walk. Unfortunately, I was out of town and was not able to attend, but I am super interested in hearing what your feedback was on the Peace Walk. The community, I hear the community was, all for it. All the feedback I've gotten so far is positive. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought, and what you feel like we achieved that day.
I mean, I think we started. It was a spark. You know what I'm saying? It's the beginning. That was the first one, and it's bringing awareness to that particular issue. Like, it's affecting our community at an alarming rate. You know what I'm saying? Everybody is affected when somebody gets shot or somebody is out here shooting. It don't just affect the person shooting or the person that gets hit. It affects the entire community. You know what I'm saying? It's unsafe. Kids don't want to be out playing, family members dealing with the trauma of what happened. So, like, it's an important issue, and it was important that people came out. And there was a lot of people that came out, and I'm expecting it to be bigger the next time we put something on, because people really are trying to get involved. We're trying to make it, people tired.
Absolutely.
Right.
I agree with you.
I think if I can give I have a lengthy answer to this question because this was my first
We got 2 minutes, Richard.
Oh, so I'll keep it short than in 2 minutes. 1, it started small and grew. 2, I couldn't believe how many people came out to see Gio or C or this. As we walked and they were identifiable in the community, people were starting to come into the group. And before you know it, the group actually grew. It was starting to really grow. 3, the people that we got to see clap for us or thumbs up or praising. And there was one woman at a corner at a church, and you could kind of tell she was praising God right there for this moment. And I think the last but not least was C's. C's is a gentleman that took control of the bullhorn. And I remember at one point he said, guys, this part is a high risk area. Y'all need to up this chance. Come on. And the way he took lead of that, because his heart was in this, was so amazing to me to see that. I applaud all that. That was my first experience in a walk like this. And then ultimately, when we went up at the park to see the youth and family out there enjoying water ice and to see what other things were out there. There was so much stuff out there. I was really blown away, and I hope I'm with Gio on this. I think this was just a spark.
Yeah. You know? Yeah. I want to give a huge shout out and just thumbs up to Chester Community Coalition and Ceasefire for spearheading it, for being so aware of what's going on in the community and providing a platform for all of us, not just us as an organization that works within that violence prevention framework, but all of us as community members and just residents of this city, an opportunity to get out and just show that we are all on the same page to eradicate or to, just get rid of the violence. Gio said it. Everybody's tired. Everybody just wants to just live without bearing each other and being assaulted all the time with trauma. Like, especially since as we dig deep, as we dig into what the beefs are and what the challenges are, like, so much of it can be solved in ways that's going to benefit everybody so much better. Like, there's resources out there. I think that with our increased communication, like just being a connector with all of the other organizations out there, what we're seeing with GVINE is there's resources out there for everybody. Everybody really is willing to work together. So I think you guys are spot on. Gio was saying how we're just tired. Everybody just wants to just put our energy in a better place. And with Richard, what you're seeing it happen is really amazing. And I'm disappointed I didn't get a chance to see it in person. I would have just loved all of that. So
there's one more shout out I wanted to give because this was so important visually. There was a banner that was there that had shirts with names on it. So this was a parent, I believe, and I hope I'm not messing the story up. This was a parent had lost a loved one and created this banner, and every shirt that had a name was a youth who was lost due to gun violence in Chester. At one point, there was no more shirts on this banner, so she wrote names in between the shirts, and this banner was really long. And I just want to put out there, sometimes I've heard conversations where people be like, that you shouldn't have been out there, or they were out doing, they know what they was doing. Sometimes that I hate those conversations, because looking at that banner, these were future, for me, these were future dirt nurses, doctors, lawyers, entrepreneurs, these
neighbors,
youth,
neighbors, uncles, aunts,
brothers,
the
the future is robbed from us
friends.
Right. And the future is robbed from us when these young ones are killed over senseless violence. And not just young ones, even older ones, but some people have had enough experiences where they define their life later on and change their life. So when you lose a loved one, we lose a part of the future. When we lose anyone, we lose a part of the future. And that person could have had the cure for cancer. Who knows?
Yeah.
But that's how precious life is.
Precious.
You know, just to see that banner. So I want to applaud that we were able to, that person or someone was out there able to capture those names. They're not forgotten.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I don't want us to minimize I don't want us to maximize the moment and put it up like it's the only thing we have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Would you guys say, Jill said, you said it's a spark. Like that means that there needs to be fire after that. It can't just be a walk, because the loss that we're experiencing is real. It's in our house. It's in our households. It lives with us. You know, I'm like you guys. I am tired of missing my family. I don't like it. I don't want to miss any more of them. I like all of them. I want them all to stay. And I want you to have your family. I want you to have your family. I want everybody involved in this city to have their family. And I'm making a plea to the community that if there is a conflict that you're experiencing, that you feel like needs to be resolved with violence, I'm going to volunteer everybody in G-Vine, everybody making a change. See us first. Call us first. It can be confidential. Text us. I mean, give us a smoke signal, whatever you need to do. Have the conversation with somebody in our community first. Gio's out there. Amino Guns is out there. Richard's out there. Josh is out there. Coach Skip is out there. Talk to these guys first and see if there's a way that they can help first. You know, let's try that first, you know, and then go from there. Because I don't want to see any more. I don't want to see that banner. I don't know. The banner, I'm sure it was emotional. I'm not here for it.
At the end of the day, like, it comes down to decisions, and it comes down to home. Decisions, home, and accountability. You feel me? At home, we got to be accountable to our sons. They bringing these guns in these houses. Y'all know what they doing. Y'all not saying nothing. Y'all not disciplining them correctly. Y'all letting this go on. And then it spills out into the street, and then we have to deal with it. First, we have to start dealing with this at home. We have to start holding our sons accountable. We have to stop co-signing what's going on. I know with the daughters, but more with the gun violence with our sons.
You're right.
We are standing idly by and watching them do it. Coming to us and hugging us with guns on their hips, and we not saying nothing. We know they out here doing stuff, and we not doing nothing. So it starts there. That's why, I was glad that this walk happened, where a lot of families and a lot of people who lost people to gun violence was there, and they was allowed, given the opportunity to show people like what that's doing to them.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, nothing that goes on out here justifies you taking somebody's son from him. Taking somebody's daughter from him. You know what I'm saying? Nothing that he did really justifies you doing that.
Right.
So, like, that's what we got to get out of. We got to get out of, it's cool for this reason, but it's not cool for that.
Right.
Nah, it's not never cool. It's not acceptable for you to just be out here taking people's life like that.
Right.
We got to instill this in their heads. We have to beat this in their heads. Like we beat everything else in their head. Like we just talked for an hour about truancy and all that. That's all cool. Beat this in their head. Threaten them with this. Threaten them with some type of repercussions about this, about coming to your home like this. And that's what we got to do, man.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
That's where we got to attack it at.
You're right.
Gio, I love the fact that you said the parent needs to put accountability on that loved one in their house. And I think that is really important, because you know what, if you don't put no accountability, you don't say nothing, you pretty much silently co-signing with the youth. Like, this is cool and this is okay. But taking that position of authority too, not just as a parent, but as an older human being who has experience in life, and say, yo, this ain't cool, you know. Let's talk. Let's rap about this, but also I'm gonna be firm about this. This is my household, and this is not gonna be allowed. Taking that ownership, that itself is power, and I think parents need to realize that. Take your power, establish that, and establish your place as an elder, as a leader, and define what life really is, and don't let the other people define it. These youth are caught up on I call it the matrix effect. You know what I mean? Everything that everything's false that they believe in that gets them in trouble, gets them jammed up. And it takes, Brother Josh had explained this before. He said, man, when you're in prison, you have a lot of time to think. You got a lot of time to think, and reality hits you hard. But let's not let it get that far, right? We shouldn't let it get that far, brother. And I applaud that. Parents, make the youth accountable.
And if you need help,
yep,
we're here. It's programs out here. It is not. I'm not even gonna call it a program. There are people in our communities that are saying, "I will help support that conversation. I will help support that accountability. I'm here for it." So. I want to thank you guys for your time. I want to thank Miss Strand Yarbray for her time, and we all have to work together. We all have to work together. Every one of us has a responsibility, from the littles on up to the old heads. We all have a responsibility to create a community that we want to live in, that we feel safe in, that we can enjoy life. Just literally just enjoy life and not worry about and just take some of those concerns away. And if Making a Change Crew can help in any way, we've got Gio, we got Coach Fareed, we got Richard, we got Josh, we got Amino Guns out there. Every single day somebody is outside, not in this office. They are outside, available and willing to hear you out, to validate and help you walk through the process. We're not saying that people aren't offended. We aren't saying that things aren't wrong. We aren't saying that there isn't space for things to be fixed. But let's have a conversation. Let's buckle down and really, do better. Let's just all do better so we can all live better. So thank you guys again. We are signing off.